it's better to try and to fail than rather to not try at all. You don't want to get caught up in what the world says you have to, like what that dream looks like.
Welcome to another episode of the Wichita Life Podcast, where we take a look into the minds of impactful and successful creatives, athletes, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and more from Wichita, Kansas. Today's sponsor is Il Primo Espresso Cafe. Il Primo is one of my favorite coffee shops. There are 2 convenient locations downtown at the base of the Epic Center and on the east side at Central and Woodlawn. If you've ever been, you've seen how many options are available, and if you haven't, you need to go check it out today. Go grab a coffee from Il Primo today. Welcome back for another episode of the Wichita Life Podcast. My name is Landon, and I'm the host. Today's guest is Mollie Beaver. Mollie is currently a junior at Trinity Academy in Wichita, Kansas. She is a musician who sings, plays guitar, piano, and the ukulele, and has performed at various venues all over the U.S. Mollie has also competed on The Voice and American Idol, making it past the first round. Enjoy my conversation with Mollie Beaver. All right, I'm here with Mollie Beaver and her mom, Darcy. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
So can you just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. I was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. I grew up going to Andover.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to like Cottonwood and then Andover Middle and then Andover High. And my sophomore years, I transferred to Trinity Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I'm a junior now. And yeah, when I was 8, I started singing and performing and kind of got into the music scene around then. So it's been a good journey ever since then.
Cool. So that's kind of why we're here, just talk about kind of your career so far and where it's going to take you. So you just talk a little about like what got you into singing, playing music or instruments. What got you into that, and what all do you play?
Honestly, I kind of just always like knew that I liked music. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I used to sing around the house, and so I got interested in it, and I was like, I want voice lessons. So at age 8, that's when I actually started taking voice lessons, and then I took guitar lessons along with it.
Okay.
And that's also when I like first started performing, you could say. And I just loved it, and honestly, learning instruments was difficult, but I'm so thankful that I learned them because it's worth it in the long run. And at age 11, I started piano, and so I was doing guitar and piano, and then I randomly wanted to play a ukulele
because I was, goes in with guitar, right?
It does. And I thought it's so cute, and I was like, I just want to like be able to play those songs. So anyway, I got one of those, and it was very helpful that I had guitar in my brain, because then you already have calloused fingers and all that. And so and actually this year there was an opportunity where one of our friends, they were giving a violin away.
Oh, wow.
And so I had always wanted to play violin. It was like, I don't know why, as a kid, I was like, this is like my dream instrument to learn how to do. So we took it, and I've been starting lessons this year, and I love it.
Which one's the hardest?
Oh, I don't know. They're like hard for different reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. Right now, for me, a violin is just because it's new, and unlike the guitar and ukulele, it doesn't have frets, which are the lines.
Right, yeah.
So it's all muscle memory. For like
that would
where
be a little more difficult.
It is, yeah. So it's just basically repetition, and yeah.
Yeah. Violin seems like it'd be way more difficult. I play guitar a little bit. I dabble. So if I had played since I first started, I'd be slash. I mean, I started in like 4th grade, but then I would go for 6 months, quit, a couple years later pick it up and same kind of thing. But I think without frets, that would be a lot more difficult. So
I definitely find that though, just with instruments, like it's hard, like, because I play 4, I'll be playing 1 for like a week, and I'm really into guitar this week. And then the next week, I'm just like so into piano, and I'm like looking up all these cool songs to learn. And then, I don't know, it's just so random. I'll never be like, play all of them in one day, which I probably should. But I just, I get so into just one instrument at a time.
Is it hard to balance, I mean, school, whatever other activities you're in, and then playing each of these instruments and singing? Like, is that hard to juggle all that?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I like keeping myself busy, but it's definitely hard because, I don't know, I have a standard for myself, and I want to be good at, like, these instruments. But it takes a lot of discipline because, like, after just doing schoolwork and really focusing on that and then extra, curricular activities, sometimes I just want to nap.
Understandable.
And I'm like, I should be, improving my music somehow. And it's hard, but it's good.
Yeah, definitely. What activities are you involved with at school?
Right now, I am a cheerleader. And it's my first year doing that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, I want to try something new. Never done this before. So I'm doing that, and we're in basketball season. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, I'm actually in our school's high school musical production.
Very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun show to pick. But I'm just a cheerleader in the show because I can't be, anything more because it's just there's so much time commitment for both. And
absolutely. That's awesome though. Yeah, kind of spread it wide and cast the net a little bit involved in everything. That's cool. Is your family musically inclined?
I think so. I mean, my mom and dad were both in madrigals in high school.
Okay, yeah.
And my sisters, I think, they can sing. Like, my oldest sister, Abby, she actually started singing before I did.
Yeah.
And she would sing at different competitions, too. And
very cool.
I think she just stopped, or she just faded out and wasn't as passionate.
Yeah.
And but they both have voices, and, like, they can sing.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I think it all comes really from my mom's dad, my papa. Mm-hmm. He has a great voice, and he used to sing in churches a lot.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the opposite of my family. My brothers and I cannot sing, and our parents cannot sing, and so that's really cool. Do you still take lessons or anything?
I take voice and piano, and now violin. I don't take guitar anymore, and I never took ukulele, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Is there a favorite style you like to sing in, like country or just pop songs, or what do you like to do?
Yes, it's honestly so weird because I have different moods for things, but I really like performing country and singing that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's so fun. I have so many artists, though, that I like to... I've been really getting into the classic country lately.
Sure.
And so I love, like, Dolly Parton and... I'm blanking on her name. What's Patsy Cline. Oh, yes. And... Oh, sorry. And I also love jazz. Like, just, very cool, that kind of... I don't know, like Nora Jones and...
Very cool. That's awesome, yeah.
Vibey stuff.
Yeah.
Coffee shop, we like to say.
Yeah. That's very cool. So you mentioned a couple of, like, the inspirations. Do you think you sound like any one artist more than another? Or does it change over time when you have different moods and everything?
Honestly, I don't know. I think this is kind of going on a trail. But I've been told a lot that I sound like the old Miley Cyrus when I sing.
Okay.
So
that's a pretty good comparison.
She's got your voice, so. I mean, I'm like, I'll take the compliment. But
yeah, definitely. So what do your friends say? Have they always known about, like, this side of you, I guess, or have you always been kind of the singer or musician of your friend group?
I feel like since I kind of started at a young age, I guess I've always been the one that sings, or and I don't know. I saw that later in my life. It did kind of I don't know, it kind of became a conflict just in
Sure.
like, you know, instead of hanging out with friends, I had to go perform or just different situations where it not necessarily got in the way, but just like what I had a passion for and like I wanted to do singing, and so I had to sacrifice things.
Right.
So I did see that got in the way, but honestly, my friends are really understanding about it, which is nice.
That's important.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, I mean, it could be anything though, singing, sports, anything. Somebody that's like driven and
completely
like on that path
Yeah.
to greatness. I mean, yeah, it can be hard to balance that. And it's
Definitely.
cool to have friends that support that. So there's a couple sides to music, I guess. So there's kind of the recording side, because you do some personal songs that you've written, and then performing. So can you just talk about the recording process a little bit and like writing songs, what that looks like?
Of course. I recorded my first song when I was 12 years old. Actually, last night.
Awesome.
I think it was last night. I set up my Alexa that I
Yeah?
got for Christmas, and we were playing my songs, and my first song I ever recorded came on, and my voice was so tiny. It was so tiny. But anyway, yeah, so the process that we go through usually is, I guess I'll go in order. So how I write a song, it like is different each time, because I usually will sit down and I'll like play a chord progression that I like, and I will write the lyrics and chords together, because I don't know, I think it's more difficult to do just the whole sound of it than the lyrics, because it's easier to just go with it. I don't know, that's how I think. And so I usually write it all together at one time, and it depends on really, I guess, how inspired I am at the time, or because sometimes I can get a really good phrase and then I can't find the chorus itself, so I'll have to like wait months, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this could be cool. And but then there was like been songs where I've written in a day or just in a couple of hours, just because it's just like it came so naturally. And I don't know, I think it just really depends on the inspiration, because I know people like say like with writing, like just make yourself do it, sit down and write, and I do believe that like that does help you improve. But I also kind of believe like I think it's cool when I get little inspiration stuff and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, and then I sit down and write. And I don't know, it's also very difficult with life, because I don't know, it gets in the way. And then I remember in middle school I would be in class and I would get a little tune in my head and I'm like, that sounds really cool, and we couldn't just leave, so I was like, can I go to the bathroom? And then I would go record it. But yeah, it was funny. But anyway, sorry, I didn't even talk about the recording process, but
no, you're fine. I want to hear all of it. So
no, you're good. The recording process, basically I would write the song, then we got in contact with this guy named Carter Green in Wellington, Kansas, which is actually where our family lives, my mom's sister. So the area was familiar, which is nice. But yeah, we found out who he was through a songwriter actually that wrote the first song I sang and recorded.
Cool.
And anyway, we went in and they were the producers like in the beginning of all of my recordings, and they would go through and make the track. That way I could just come in and sing along to it. And you just do like 5 takes maybe, and then you piece together the best parts of each song, which is kind of cool.
I was wondering about that.
But later, like as I've gotten older, they kind of let me help with the producing part, which is kind of cool.
That is cool,
to like see how it comes together. It does take longer, but it's cooler because I had like a say in how the music was.
And it makes you a little more well-rounded and kind of know every aspect of it. That's cool.
Definitely.
And the producer, I mean, like Aaron said, I mean, I'm going to definitely give him a shout out because he's so amazing as far as a songwriter, and really has been such a guide.
Mm-hmm.
And what Carter and Aaron have provided Mollie is just very approachable.
Completely.
Way of recording, so that when then she went and did some songs in Nashville and recorded there was definitely she'd had just enough experience, I mean, not a tremendous amount, but that it made it
enough,
she kind of knew, even though they do it really quite different with live musicians throughout on each part of the song, but she was able to find the flat notes, find the sharp notes, and tell the engineers she wanted that to be changed, because of that sense of confidence that she'd been given.
That's really cool, yeah. It might have been harder to do if she'd never done it before,
Exactly.
Completely. And they were great, just guides. And it's very, like you said, it's very different than the Nashville scene. Because I got to record once in Nashville. How long ago was that?
When you were 14, so 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago. And it was great. I loved all the people working, and the band themselves, they were really very nice. But it's very different because in Wellington, I can be hands-on. And
Right.
their standards in Nashville are like different in that way where they just don't let you.
I just think that it's just a different approach.
Yeah,
It is a different approach.
Yeah, it does. So is it difficult? I always wondered about like if you write the lyrics or chords first. That's interesting. It's kind of on the same time. I always wondered about that. But is it hard to ever like, I don't know, maybe you have a tune or like a chord sequence or something stuck in your head to not be like, okay, I feel like I've heard somewhere either like inspiration versus something you might have heard before. You know what I mean? Because there's so much music out there now. Is it hard to ever distinguish?
I don't know. There's been countless times where I'll like write a chord progression and I'm like, oh, this is so good. I'm like, this is great. And so I like start writing and singing and I'm like, but it sounds really familiar and I don't know why. And then I find the song that's like the exact same as mine, but with different lyrics.
Right.
And I don't know. I've always kind of had the initiative to like stop writing it because I'm like, I want to write something original and different than that's been written. But there are so many similar chord progressions.
I was about to say, there's only so many
Honestly,
combinations.
there's not many. There's so many of the same stuff. Like, have you seen those videos where like you play the same thing and you can find like 10 songs?
It's like the top 50 pop songs or something.
Yes.
It's the same 3 chords or something.
So I've been trying like lately just to keep writing and see what happens because honestly there's so much similarity.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, between how you said like making yourself sit down and write versus like when you are inspired to write. I think that's a hard balance too, but there's a book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and it's all about like, I mean, artists of any kind, but like making yourself do the work and sit down every day and do the work and greatness will come out of it. But again, it's hard to balance between doing that and like, if you make yourself do it and you start to hate it, then where do you go with that?
Yeah,
so,
definitely. And I don't know, I found that, I don't know, when I used to perform a lot and it was like, I don't know, not really ruining my social life, but I couldn't go hang out with friends. I had to go sing, prepare for a concert at least. It's so fun, but it comes to a point where I stress out so easily. Like I over stress about like everything. It's a problem. But so I began to like not enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is it's hard because the preparation always stresses me out and I don't enjoy that. But as soon as I get on stage and I'm prepared, I'm having a blast.
Right.
And I like have a sense of peace. So no matter, I always try to remember that feeling, because there were always countless times where I was like, I don't know if I should do this anymore because it's not bringing me joy. But then as soon as I would perform, it would be joy. So it's just,
Sure.
it's the process. I've had to learn that, just if I don't do music, there's going to be something else that's going to be hard.
Right.
So
Yeah, people say, like, if you find what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Be like, it's still going to be work.
It's still gonna
you
be
could love
work.
it, but it's still going to be work to get to where you want to go.
I think so too.
I think the challenge too is just your age. I mean that's the piece. I mean the
100%.
second that people are done with high school, then I think it'll be easier.
Yeah.
Because you'll see people working.
For sure.
Completely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just a different approach. I think it's
It is
being
starting
in school
kind which
piece.
is harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, to answer your question regarding like how you do, kind of check your songs, if you will, because there are so many songs that sound the same. That's why working with adults, honestly,
people that do it for a living,
people, like kind of, here's a song, what do you think? Well, what do you think about this? Just some ideas.
Yeah.
And allowing for that feedback and flexibility
definitely.
is key, honestly.
Yeah.
Because they just know so much more.
Right. Oh yeah.
Honestly.
They've been in the industry longer, and
Exactly.
Completely.
So I think just being open to that.
Taking the wisdom from them and helping them, having them guide you.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
So what is your biggest song so far? And then I want to talk a little bit about you maybe haven't cracked the charts here, but in Europe you've had some success. So I want to hear about that a little bit.
Yeah. When you say biggest song, like
whatever you mean. Highest on the chart, most successful, most listens, whatever that means to you. And where is your music, by the way? I've listened on Spotify, but where else is the music?
It's on iTunes, Spotify, CD Baby,
Amazon
YouTube, Amazon Music.
Very cool. So yeah, kind of all over the place. Yeah.
Which is nice. I'm trying to think about my biggest song. I mean, what would you even
I think Gamer's getting a lot of
Gamer.
play. It's your first one to release to radio.
Okay.
So
I just didn't. Gamer was. I wrote it now maybe a year ago. But yeah, it's like she said, the first one I released to the radio, and that one was actually one of the songs I wrote in a day.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
I know. But yeah, that's also the one that we submitted for the Europe kind of. It's this radio producer who has it on his station, and he plays it every. How often did he play it?
So he's a radio promoter.
Oh.
And it goes out to hundreds of DJs across
Very cool.
Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, just to kind of explore, the country music is not a ton over in Europe.
Yeah.
And so, you can release music and not be a signed artist, because Mollie's not really signed, and
Right.
we played on the radio in the United States. It's a little more tricky.
Yeah.
Based on that, she has been on some AM radio, but so anyway, and then what's great is that then we get feedback from the DJs. So from
that's cool.
Australia,
Yeah.
from England, from Germany, from all over.
Yeah.
And so we, just actually about 2 weeks ago got that feedback, and then they rank her
Okay.
based on that. And honestly, the feedback was great.
Yeah.
And we just got contacted. Different DJs will contact us. So like a gal or they were playing all female country artists.
Yeah.
Just 2 days ago, reached out and just said, "Hey, playing Mollie's music now." I mean, and we don't know those people.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Which
It is
really
cool.
And
Right
there in the same line as Mollie is Miranda Lambert. So
Oh, yeah.
like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Doing something right. Yeah. That's really cool.
I know.
So,
It was fun.
yeah.
I think another big song that it was the first one I ever recorded, which is When You Dream Big. And that was the song that was written by Aaron Sidwell.
Very cool.
And yeah, it was awesome because it came from a 6th grade project.
That's cool.
And we were building water filtration systems. And so we were basically sending over water filtration systems to families and kids in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really cool experience, and I didn't want it to end, and so I thought it'd be cool to have a song for it, but at the time I didn't really write.
Yeah.
And I hadn't started that journey.
Right.
And so yeah, it was perfect that we met Aaron, and we just told him kind of what we wanted to hear out of the song, and it's been a huge part of my life, I think, because I don't know, it's just I feel like I have a connection with just that whole organization.
Yeah,
and
that's really cool.
Just the whole aspect of dreaming big. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, when you dream big. Anyway, but yeah, and so basically that happened, and then all of the proceeds from like people that buy it on iTunes go towards like
Very cool.
the water filtration systems, which is awesome. And I feel like that's been the most impactful song that's ever come out. Like,
that's really cool.
So that's,
Is that the name of the organization? What is the name of that?
Of the Life Straws?
Yeah, all of that.
Well, I mean,
is there
honestly,
it goes to a school called Cheery Children Education
cool.
Center.
I don't know if there's a specific organization, but it's just like
very cool. Yeah,
proceeds
it goes
for the Life Straws. Yes, I know, but it's like to the
school. I mean, so what it is that through this project in 6th grade, then they created community life water filters for the school.
Yeah.
And then what happened when Mollie said, I think I want to continue this, we reached out to the headmaster and talked to him, and they were like, they need clean water when they go home.
Right.
And so When You Dream Big, this song When You Dream Big, then provides these life straws or these water filters for the families.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
It's like home.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really good cause.
it's hard to get a lot of money because downloads are not
very
much.
low.
You don't get very much money.
Right.
So
No.
it takes a lot of downloads.
Yeah.
But we have sent money over, and the kids
awesome.
have received them, and then they send us pictures back. So
Very cool. That's rewarding.
It's really
yeah,
sweet.
it's good. It's good. And then we did a children's book.
Yes.
Awesome.
That
My dad illustrated.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was. We thought it would be just like another good way to raise money. And, it was cool. For a while, Aaron and I would kind of put on these, I don't know what you call them. I guess just
visits.
like author visits. Thank you. So basically, he would kind of tell about the book and tell about like our passion and like what we really want out of it. And then I would play the song.
Very cool.
And then we would sell like the books and the CDs and everything, and that kind of helped too.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we did a couple of those, and yeah, the books, it's just another great way to earn more money for that.
Sure. Yeah, and it's a great way to use your gifts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What makes America so much harder? Is it just amount of like to crack into? Is it just the amount of people, all the different, I mean, do you have to be signed, or is there possible to do it independent, or what does that look like?
Honestly, I think there's so many different ways to approach it today that it's like confusing to hone in on like the exact thing that you're looking for. And also, I felt, at least when I went to Nashville, I felt like everybody wanted the exact same thing that I did. And so that's hard to kind of see. It's hard to all want the same thing because in my mind, I feel like I'm very like practical, and I'm like, I want a job, I want to actually make money. So,
Valid.
yeah, so I was like, I don't know how that's going to work. And I don't know. Lately, I feel like it's not about, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to be like signed, or I don't know what I want really with it. And I feel like it's more just about fulfillment and like what you're doing.
For sure.
I think the industry is really hard.
Yeah.
Because it's today it's not mostly about talent. It's more about connections
I think that's a
and
lot
the
of
price you're willing to pay and all that.
For sure.
Which,
Yeah, I think that what we've always talked about is it is such a hard industry to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's your passion, then like you said, then it will be just where you go
Yeah.
and what you do. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, then you're going to be successful. You're going to
completely
have that sense of joy about it and have
fulfillment.
And just really, keep getting up every day and working hard because you want to be, even though how they're going to determine if you're going to make it or not make it, if you will.
Yeah.
I do think the industry's tough, and we only know a little bit about it.
Right.
In the respect of but I think they've just changed a lot of things. It used to be you could go to the radio station and hand them your CD or talk about it, right?
And now it's not that way.
that way as much. So, I think it's hard to know how to navigate it.
Right.
And then trust.
Yeah.
So,
100%. And I think it's a better outlook to try to focus on that side instead of, obviously you want to make it or whatever make it means, but controlling what you can control. Like there's something kind of negative about, they won't sign me. I put out another song and nobody listens. It's like you can only control creating it and performing it. You can't control how people will take it. So
right. And I think that there is some push for independent artists right now.
Yeah.
And there is a guy out of Texas, Aaron Watson, who is completely doing the independent approach, and
he's being successful too.
Very successful, and defying all odds, but working super hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is you have to determine what do you want out of this?
How much you want it, and just
From people like that, is there a roadmap? Like, is he using social media to try to spread the word, or like, do you know? Are you going to try to emulate any of that, or YouTube maybe? There's been like Shawn Mendes or Justin Bieber got discovered because of YouTube, or whatever that is.
I don't know. I think status does have a lot to do with it, to just like how you carry yourself and a lot of the social media, just like creating a profile and.
I think he does a lot of things on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, most not Snapchat, but no, but Twitter, which I have an account that I've never used. I'm so bad, but yeah.
Sure. Are there any what's the radio scene in Wichita like? Is that hard? Does anybody help local people get heard? I've talked to some people that are kind of like on the hip hop side of that, but countryside or like the kind of music you play. Is there anybody that helps out with that around here?
Honestly,
when Rusty was on the radio, then he played your music. He was on AM radio.
True.
And then different things that Mollie is saying. The National Anthem 4 has been sponsored by radio stations.
Cool. Yeah.
But
I think that they're supportive. Not that they're not supportive at all. It's just subjectiveness, and there's a lot.
There's probably just layers.
There is layers we don't even know about.
And bureaucracy and people making decisions. Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, for sure. So that was kind of the recording, singing, that kind of thing. Hopping over to performing, can you tell me about some of your experiences? I know, just doing a little research, an article from, it was a couple years, almost 3 years old now, but you sang at Kauffman Stadium at the Royal Stadium.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And just tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah, that was so fun. I think they posted times to audition, I guess you could say. And we drove to Kansas City, and then back in one day, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember, but anyway, it was fun. You basically go out there, and there were a lot of people auditioning, and you get to sing on the field. So really even if I didn't get it, I still got to sing on the field.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah.
But I was fortunate to get it that time and be able to sing. It was a lot of fun. It was stressful.
Yeah.
Because that is the biggest crowd I've ever sang.
Say, how nervous do you get before that? I would be so nervous.
Honestly, well, the national anthem, I sing it quite a bit, and I always get butterflies a little bit before I sing because I'm there's pressure on this song.
Yeah,
it's
that's true. More than
everybody
most
knows
songs,
it. It's like everybody knows it. There's a specific way you're supposed to sing it. It's so vulnerable because it's just your voice.
Right.
And anyway, I was pumped, but I was like, don't mess this up. Anyway, it went good, and yeah, it was crazy. What's crazy though, I had to get these kind of earphones or like earplugs because the stadium echoes so much.
Oh wow, I wouldn't even think about that.
Like, yeah, no, I even had them in and I could still hear my echo. I had to concentrate so hard.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a lot of
it
pressure.
was so hard
Wow.
to hear myself, but it was a good experience.
And then I also read that you've done like all kinds of Wichita State games.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I have one coming up too, the 18th.
I have to look at, it's coming up here in January.
Wow.
I think so.
For women's basketball. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's just it's every once in a while that it's just like, oh, you're singing. I'm like, okay.
So do you try out for those? Or are you like on a list that they contact every now and then, or?
I think I've done it enough now that they contact us to sing, which is nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. By far, I got to do one men's basketball game, which was fun.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Because they had us sing like they had me sing "God Bless America" and
oh wow.
Stars.
No, just God Bless America.
Oh, wasn't there one I did too?
Um,
I feel like there was.
when you audition for the Royals, you have to audition for both.
Oh really?
No, when you did the Wranglers, when you.
Oh cool.
Yeah.
The NBC tournament.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
NBC's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get some opportunities over at the new stadium. So
Yeah.
that's cool. That'll be awesome. So is there anywhere else you performed that was like really cool? I know you mentioned Nashville. I don't know if that was while we were recording or not, but can you talk a little bit about like Nashville and some of those performances?
Yeah. We went to Nashville a couple years ago for like my first time. And it's cool. We went down the Broadway street, which is basically like just bars full of people singing.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. We went during the day and you know, because I couldn't do that. Anyway, I got to sing at Legends. Yeah, we were there with a really good person that I perform with a lot, Rusty Ryerson.
Okay.
He is an amazing performer, and he's been doing it for so long. And we actually met at this, what was it? It was in Manhattan, Kansas. And what's the name of the organization?
It was an alumni event for the College of Agriculture.
Okay.
And so you were singing the national anthem.
Yeah, I was singing the national anthem. They had really good meat, like so much, like steak and lamb and all that. Anyway, so he was actually doing a gig.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, this is cool. So I gave him my CD, and then he contacted me, and that's how we kind of got
awesome.
Yeah. And like, which is really cool because now sometimes we'll go back to that event and sing together.
That's cool.
Just like, oh, that's funny.
Come full circle.
Yes. But anyway, we went with him to Nashville our first time, and he was actually the one who like asked the band like, I'll give you, some money if you let her sing or something. So I got to sing, and that was fun. It was a cool scene, just everybody singing.
Yeah.
And then there's a hotel. It's funny because it's just a hotel, but everybody goes to Commodore. It's like a little cafe inside the hotel to sing at. And so I sang there with Rusty and one of his really good friends, Stephanie Lane. Yeah, and her music is really good too. But just last night, the guy that won The Voice. Yes. The guy that won The Voice sang at the Commodore. So it's cool. Because there's famous people that like go back there and sing, or just like local people. It's a cool place. 'Cause it's like everybody's welcome.
Right.
Yeah.
Nashville is kind of like the Mecca, right? For like music, and then especially like country music and
Completely.
stuff. So is there plans to move there like future after college or after high school or anything like that?
I don't know. Whenever we visit, I love it. And I think it's a really cool scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done summer camps at Belmont University,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
which is a music school in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great because I'm surrounded by kids that do the exact same thing I do.
Right. And
we just play music and have fun and get to know
really
each
cool,
other.
yeah.
And it is cool. And it makes me want to be around people like that.
Yeah.
By far. I think, I don't know, there's like comfort and it overwhelms me at the same time because it's like everybody has the same talent as you, and it's like they're so good. I remember my roommate, my second year of the Belmont camp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just in general, like the roommates you get at Belmont, they're so talented, and you'll just be singing to each other, and you're like, oh my gosh, she's so good. Oh my gosh, she's so good, and you're like, this is overwhelming, but it's so fun. So I don't really know what I plan to do, but I was thinking about that college and just kind of seeing where God leads me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we can plan it all we want, but
I know. Lately, I've just been like, you know what, God's will. I'm gonna follow that.
Yep, 100%. That's really cool though. Like there is something to being surrounded by people that are. I mean, they might all be better than you, but it's like that's probably a good thing.
It does push you.
Yeah,
it's a good challenge because it did make me want to be better and improve. And so I did see how that could be healthy.
Yeah. Both sides. I mean, there's something to being the biggest fish in a small pond, but there's something about the other way too. So.
Yeah, completely.
So you tried out for what I just found out, The Voice and American Idol at some points in the past. And so I think American Idol was relatively recently, like the last year over at Century too, I think. But can you just talk a little bit about both of those?
Of course. I'll talk about American Idol because it was like more recent. I was pulled out of school that day, and my dad took me down to Center 2. Basically, it was set up like there were 5 tables and then curtains in between each table. And so you could hear everybody's audition.
Could you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it was in one big room and just curtains.
So you can't see them, but you can hear everybody else.
Yeah. It's okay. Everybody in line can see everything. But then, like, when you're, like, actually auditioning, you can still see. It's very on display.
Okay.
So
yeah, that would be a little nerve-wracking too.
It was a little nerve-wracking because I was like, I'm not just singing for this dude. I'm singing for like everybody. And anyway,
do you get any background music? Or is it all a cappella? Or
all a cappella. Yeah. So yeah, basically they took you in groups of 4, if I remember correctly, and you like each step up and you just take time singing your songs, and then you step back, and you had to have like 3 prepared, and most people only got to sing 1. And he had me sing my second one. So I just sang my second one, and it actually happened to be Gamer, my original. And yeah, if they like you, I guess they send you to the like winner's booth.
Okay.
And it was just like this kind of place cut off by a curtain, and so I got that, and my dad and I sat there for like 5 hours because it's like a process of we had to record 3 songs and send it to the producers. Oh, wow. And then you'd have to wait to hear back from them, but then you had to like basically look up dates that would work for you if you happened to get it.
Oh, wow.
So like all the times you'd be out of town.
Wow.
And and an interview. So it was a lot. It was fun, but it was a lot. And yeah, I didn't actually end up getting another call or whatever from the producers, and I was sad, but I was honestly not like too disappointed because I realized I kind of auditioned without thinking, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life if I would have just gotten this and had to just, up and go.
Right.
when I wasn't really prepared. And I say that. I mean, I think it would have been amazing, but
Right.
I was kind of accepting that God had different plans for me at that time, and I was okay with that. And same thing for The Voice. It was...
Where was this audition?
The Voice.
Yeah, was it here in town?
So I'd done it twice. Once in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And the second time, was it in Kansas City?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So both times were pretty like low key.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as many people because the American Idol was like an open audition. I guess you could say anybody could really like come. It's just how long you're willing to wait.
Right.
And luckily with like the Voice auditions, I got them. I kind of got a pass that part just from my tapes and
very cool.
And that was nice.
Producer level.
Yeah, which is nice. You only had to wait in like a line of like 10 people.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, yeah, both times were really good. The Oklahoma one, I got past the first two levels, which is basically like you sing and then they send you the interview part, and then that was good. But then I didn't make it to actually go to LA. I was young at the time. 13.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
So
Are there that many people that young?
I think
auditioning?
today it's more common to audition younger. At the time, there wasn't.
Really?
I was the only really young one there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I take those as like learning.
Sure.
Because it's just
that's
like.
great experience though.
Yeah, it is. And it just helps you learn how to deal with those situations too. And also it opened my eyes to the people around me and just kind of like how they did things. And same with the one in Kansas City. It was like it looked like a house, but it was like a studio inside a house, which was really cool actually. But yeah, you prepared 3 songs and I just sang one and they were like, okay, thank you for coming today, but it's going to be a no. And I was like, okay, thank you. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's
good experience.
You can't, it's just all for the learning, and honestly, I think it's important to get the no's to finally appreciate the yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is there anywhere in town you really like performing, or do you do any coffee shops? I know Meads used to have people perform there, but is there anywhere else in town you like to perform?
Oh, I love Meads. I was so sad about Anyway, honestly, I need to get on top of that because I have not been doing small gigs lately just because of school. And,
understandable.
I did this pizza place.
I know,
but what's it called? I can't even think about it. It was fun.
Bob and Luigi's,
Gambino's.
Yeah. I love Gambino's pizza.
It's so good. But they do live music. So
I didn't even know they did live music. So.
Well, I don't know why I did it. I don't know if anybody else
You
does.
just started playing one day?
I just kind of brought my stuff in. No.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. And it was chill because I invited my whole family. And that was
That's cool.
the whole restaurant. But it's okay.
I think that coffee shops are Mollie's vibe, so.
Honestly, I need to connect.
Donut hole. You could be a donut hole. Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yes. I know. They do great stuff. I need to, apply for that. I do that.
She sings on the worship team, so it's a lot of time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So when you would be normally maybe being available.
Yeah.
Right
It's a lot of stuff to juggle, for sure. So you guys had mentioned a benefit concert for a trip to Africa. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So first, I have the opportunity to go to Africa because of it's this teacher trip, I guess you could say. And we're going to like the schools in Kenya, Nairobi, and we're going to go visit Chiri, which is actually the school that the Life Straws go towards, which is really cool because I'm going to get to meet the kids that, I've been Skyping.
Right, yeah.
I'm excited about that. And then we'll get to just visit, like, Elephant Orphanage. So it'll be a good experience. And the benefit concert is basically we're thinking about raising more proceeds towards the Life Straws and water filtration systems for the kids and families. And then I'm thinking about doing a kind of donation kind of thing just to support the trip, and just donations towards travel and getting there and all of that.
Cool. So you might not have all the details nailed down, but do you know have any? Is it going to be like January, February? When is that going to be?
We're looking at April.
Yeah,
April?
we're looking at April.
And we have some. We're waiting to find out about venue exactly and
absolutely.
some development of that. So
Completely.
Sure.
talking to some different artists as well to join in, which would be really cool.
Yeah,
Really cool.
Yeah.
And I can definitely help promote some of that stuff. So that's awesome.
That'll be fun.
Is that trip through school, or what group is that trip through? Is that through Trinity, or who is that through?
It's honestly through I don't know how you
It's through a
explain.
place called Book Bag Tours.
Okay, cool.
And
Yeah.
so we really are going to see the kids at Cheery. And the guy who's leading it has been on the initial project with Mollie and
very
his
cool.
school
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania. I mean, he's actually a
Wow.
teacher in Pennsylvania. And then a couple of teachers in Andover are going as well. And
Yeah.
one of them who's leading it as well is one that's been incredibly supportive and
Yeah.
helpful to Mollie through this whole process.
And
So,
she was also a part of the 6th grade project.
yes.
Very cool. Yeah.
Big part of that. So
That's
it's
awesome.
kind of cool how it all
Yeah.
ties
So
together.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
really open to people all across the United States.
Yeah.
And so there are people from all over joining us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What advice would you have for other people kind of chasing their dreams, like whatever it might be? Do you have any advice for people? Because you're putting in the time and work to chase your dream. Do you have any advice to some other people?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that there comes a lot of like discipline in chasing like your dreams. But it's, for me, I've just kind of really gathered to the conclusion that I just want fulfillment in that, and like your dreams could be your passions, and to go for them, and it's better to try and to fail than rather to not try at all. And it's something that I struggle with too, because I get caught up in the worrying and stress of if I fail. And it's important to look past that. And I've kind of settled on this whole thing of just, I want fulfillment.
Yeah.
And my passion's music. So whatever that looks like, it may not be fame. And I think I'd be okay with that. Like, I think that fame can be overwhelming. So honestly, just fulfillment in a job that allows me to sing, or even singing on the side. It's just, I think your dreams are so important, but you don't want to, I'm just thinking about how to say this. You don't want to get caught up in what the world says you have to, like what that dream looks like.
Absolutely.
Like you can choose kind of what your dream looks like, and the fulfillment of that. Yeah.
Those are very wise words. That's awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So that was kind of a lot about your singing and stuff. So I've got some generic questions and then some stuff about Wichita. So
Okay.
Is there anything you often recommend to people? A book, a podcast, TV show, music, anything like that?
Okay. I like a lot of different genres and like music. So, I mean, I am a sucker for, classic country. So I usually give a lot of, I like to push that out, just like the good old Alan Jackson and George Strait and all of that. Book series. There's been like a book series that I read, and it was in middle school, but like it was one of those book series where like you can't put down,
Yeah.
And I don't have that a lot, and so it was called The Selection. It's basically like The Bachelor in a book, and it's so good. But I don't know. That was like the one thing I was like, read this. I could not put it down. I read like 6 books in a week, and anyway, it was really good. But yeah, and then my mom and I, we listen to podcasts, some podcasts. So like Amy Brown, who's on the Bobby Bone show.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
She's
know that was her last name, but yeah, I know.
yeah,
Amy,
she's so good, and her podcasts are really cool. She brings in really cool guests that
That's
just
awesome.
have
Did not know that.
wisdom.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
anyway, and then we also listen to Bob Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that his?
Yeah. Love Bob Goff.
Yeah, he's so good. He has like the best wisdom, and he's so down to earth, and so we love listening to him.
I have not listened to his. I didn't even know he had a podcast, to be honest. But I read a couple of his books, and then he came to the Young Life Banquet last year, so that was really cool to meet him and see him.
Oh,
so.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really
so
cool.
A lot of times he's guests on podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
I don't know if he has his own.
I guess
Yeah.
I've listened to one or two that
Yeah.
he's been on, but yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool.
He's awesome. Yeah.
He's very down to earth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
anything that really basically spreads positivity.
Enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're very focused on just spreading joy in situations and finding the positivity in it, and
It's important.
it's very
really
cool to hear.
Do you have a favorite failure in any aspect of your life? So it could be your movie career or music career or anything like that.
Yes. Honestly, I think that like the latest one, or like favorite, I guess, failure would probably be American Idol, just because it was, I don't know, it's like it could be a big opportunity and it could lead to something, but the fact is, like, when I heard that like I didn't make it past, I felt like kind of relief because of just the stress that would have come with it.
Yeah.
And maybe unreadiness, and so I really felt like God was just protecting me in that moment from
For sure.
something I didn't need to get into yet, and I don't know if that doesn't necessarily mean to just stop trying. I think that the failures are so important to like remind you to keep going and to make you stronger, and it's also a really good time for like reflection
Mm-hmm.
and just honing in on what you want. And I think it was like at a perfect timing because it was at a moment, and I'm still kind of in this moment where I'm like, I don't really know how I want to make music a part of my future
Mm-hmm.
yet. And so I think that it was a failure that kind of needed to happen.
Yeah.
And I was okay with it. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What is your definition of success? A couple of these next questions you kind of answered with some of your other ones,
Yeah.
but how would you define success?
I think success is basically just being able to do your passion in your life and what you want. So basically just fulfillment
Mhm.
in your job. And whether, I don't think it matters how it looks like or what the paycheck is. Just success is the fulfillment of your future and like your job.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have a life motto that you live by, or what is some of the best advice you've received from anyone?
I think my life motto, or something I say like all the time, is I say confidence is key. Because I'm an outgoing person, but sometimes I just need, that extra push to just like get me out of my comfort zone, or maybe when I'm not like in that mood, I'm just like, nope, I need to go talk to that person. And I think it's a good thing to say to other people too, because it builds them up and it helps me definitely.
Yeah.
And a motto that my mom would say all the time is take one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm kind of I think about the future a lot, and I think of like everything in advance. And it's silly because I can't even control that. So it's really helped me, and it's very similar to the motto, life is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And you just, it's comforting to know that you don't have to have everything figured out in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just take each day with just the best attitude and like how you want to how you want to achieve that day, or just even just like thrive or be in the best kind of, how do you say this? Best like attitude, spirits. Anyway, it's just taking each day and really dividing it into like how you would think about like your whole life. I don't know. It's helped me to really break down my stress level.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. What is a habit that you've developed lately in the past few years or whenever that's improved your life the most?
Yeah. I think that lately, over the past few years, I have been really striving to live each day like Christ and just see situations in different light. Because I think it's important to just be that person that brings the joy to situation and brings positivity and happiness. And so that's been my goal lately. And I think it's helped because it helps your attitude and it helps other people's. Yeah. Just like trying to think about, okay, what would Jesus do and how can I approach this, you know? And just like it says like slow to anger, and slow to speak, and just really like honing in on that and thinking about it, and just taking action slowly. And
yeah, that's important. I mean, there's enough negativity in the world. You turn on the news, and there's local, national, worldwide negative stuff. So it's important to be the spark for Christ, and I mean, it spreads.
Yes, awesome. And it's been very life changing for me, just because it's made me happier and know what's important too.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really cool. So just a couple questions about Wichita. What is your favorite part of Wichita, or is there a hidden gem that you like, maybe a restaurant or anything like that?
I love College Hill. Yeah. The scenery is so cute. And it's a huge community kind of feeling. We used to live there, and it was nice because it's just like you would see people walking like everywhere. Right. And I don't know, I love the community in it. And Clifton Square is also it's so cool. Awesome. So we used to just walk there and have dinner, and I thought it was awesome because I was like, yes, I earned my food. I walked there. It's definitely really fun, and I think there's cool places downtown like Old Mill Tasty Shop. Oh yeah. And Nifty Nut House. Yep. Just very unique to Wichita. So
it's very Wichita places.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Is there anything that Wichita doesn't have that you wish it did, or what would you improve about Wichita?
A cheesecake factory.
I've heard that a couple times on the podcast, actually.
Honestly, we need to get this going. I think it might be happening. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. We're starting to grow, so we start attracting some of those. We got Dave and Buster's and Chicken and Pickle. So
we keep growing, so it needs to happen. But yeah, I don't know. I think Wichita is just a growing city, and there's so many improvements already happening, like downtown, and like you said, just like we keep advancing and community, and
it's cool to see.
Definitely.
So last question, what does Wichita mean to you?
Well, I was born and raised here, and it just really, it's a symbol of home to me. I feel so much support, like from everybody in my family and friends and people I don't even really know, just like on my career in music. And it's just definitely a safe feeling, and community. And it's definitely true that someone you know, or like someone you see knows somebody you know. It's just like that. It's like everybody knows somebody.
Like 6 degrees of separation or whatever.
Yes,
you can get
that's
to anybody.
What I'm trying to say. Yeah. No, I will be like anywhere, like in a grocery store or just in a store, and I see someone I know. Yeah. And it's so cool because it's like it makes the city feel smaller, and it just makes it feel more homey. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So where, again, just to repeat, where can people find your music, find you on Instagram? What's your tag, that kind of thing?
Yeah. People can find me on iTunes and Spotify, and I'm just under Mollie Beaver with an IE. And CD Baby, I know not many people have heard of that. And Amazon Music. And then my Instagram is just Mollie Beaver.
Perfect.
And
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. It was awesome to hear your story, and I'm excited to spread it and watch your career blossom. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for
guys.
having us.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Wichita Live Podcast. If you enjoyed, please share it with a friend and leave a review on whatever podcast platform you use. I'm putting all of the podcasts on YouTube now as well, and we'll start doing video podcasts for some episodes in the future, so go to Wichita Live Podcast on YouTube and subscribe today. If you want to support the podcast, head over to our Patreon page. Thanks for the listen.